What are the basics of sponsored programs? What is a grant? What is a sponsored program? Who is a principal investigator? In this presentation, we will discuss commonly used definitions and acronyms related to grants and review a basic grant cycle or timeline. We will also talk about how faculty and administrators work together to support the grants process.
Our faculty members apply for funding from the government and from other sources to support research projects, clinical studies, and other projects at UMB. The faculty member, that's the investigator, has an idea, then writes a proposal that describes the project and estimates how much money will be needed to get the project done. The funding from the outside source is awarded to UMB as a grant or contract, an agreement that describes the project and the funding and the obligations of UMB and the funder. The award, the contract or grant, is received by UMB, and then the investigator can perform the project and spend the funding. The investigator then reports back to the funder about the results, and very often also writes a publication. Grant awards and resulting publications become a very important part of the investigator's career as a faculty member and in promotion and tenure decisions. In addition, grants and contracts support UMB's missions of research, education, and public service by supporting projects and programs that benefit public knowledge and service and provide opportunities for our students and postdocs to learn and prepare for their own careers. This is the life cycle of a sponsored project from proposal to award. The funder is referred to as a sponsor. This is where we get the term sponsored project or sponsored program. A funder external to UMB is a sponsor. The organization that receives the award is the recipient. UMB is the recipient of funding from the National Institutes of Health and many other federal government agencies, as well as from corporations and nonprofit entities. The individual who oversees the sponsored project is the principal investigator. At UMB, the principal investigator is usually a faculty member. The life cycle of a grant starts with the top circle labeled PI idea. PI is the acronym for principal investigator. The PI's idea for a project may be research, training, or service related. The PI needs to determine what sponsors might be interested in funding it. Once the PI finds a funding opportunity, then it is time to review the sponsor's proposal requirements, develop the proposal, and submit it to the sponsor. The sponsor decides whether or not to fund the proposal. If the project is funded, then we move on through the rest of the life cycle of a sponsored project. UMB reviews the terms of the award and accepts it on behalf of the PI. Then UMB sets up a financial account specific to that award so that the PI and their department can charge project-related expenses to that specific account. The PI and the project team perform the project that was funded. There may be compliance and regulatory obligations that the PI must meet. Reporting is a key part of the grant cycle. The sponsor expects to know the results of the funded project. The sponsor wants to fund projects that make a difference in knowledge, training, service, and other areas. Sponsors that are government agencies report back to Congress or the state legislature for appropriations that support grants and contracts. Nonprofit organizations report back to their boards and their donors about the stewardship of their funds. When the results are compelling, sponsors can defend the use of the funds and attract more funding. And our PIs are more likely to be successful in applying for grants in the future. From the faculty's viewpoint, many depend on grants to support research and other programs that benefit the public, lead to publications, attract students and postdoctoral fellows, improve overall reputation of the PI and UMB, and ultimately provide salary and benefit the faculty's chances for promotion and tenure. So, for our PIs, sponsored programs become a lifeline. The proposal and award process can be a source of stress. There are many ways that we, as administrators, can support the grant process and assist our principal investigators. To review, a sponsored project is a specific project, program, or service, which may be research, training, or clinical, that is supported by funding through a grant or contract, the award, from an external entity, the sponsor. The award includes terms and conditions for acceptance of the funds and performance of the project. At a minimum, the award includes the dollar amount of the funding and the effective date, the date when the PI can begin spending the funds. Award documents vary from just a page or two to many pages full of terms and conditions. When UMB accepts the award on behalf of the principal investigator, we agree to perform the project as proposed, comply with relevant terms, conditions, rules and regulations, follow any restrictions, and provide financial and program reports required by the sponsor.
The project team may simply consist of the principal investigator. After all, the PI wrote the project and has the expertise to follow through. The principal investigator commits some time and effort to the project and is usually paid from the grant account for that effort. The PI may also have budgeted for some help, a technician, for example. More often, the project team includes other experts, adding layers to the collaboration. The project team may include collaborators from UMB, other faculty members, and postdoctoral fellows, for example. Collaborators from outside UMB usually work for another organization and are performing some portion of the project in their area of expertise. UMB would then enter into an agreement with the other organization to pay the collaborator from the grant project. This adds another layer to the scheme. The sponsor is the outside funder, UMB is the recipient, and the collaborating organization is the sub-recipient. UMB receives an award and issues a sub-award to the collaborating organization, the sub-recipient. An outside collaborator may also be an individual consultant, such as an independent physician. Direct costs and indirect costs are necessary to support research and other sponsored programs or projects. Indirect costs are also known as facilities and administrative or F&A costs. Another commonly used term is overhead. Direct costs are the costs that are directly assigned or allocated to a specific project. Examples of direct costs include the salary and fringe benefits for the PI and other persons who commit effort to the project. Other examples are supplies, project-related travel, and equipment. F&A costs are not directly related to any specific project, but we could not function without them. The federal regulations define F&A costs as those costs incurred for a common or joint purpose benefiting more than one cost objective and not readily assignable to the cost objectives specifically benefited. Examples include central UMB offices such as human resources, building maintenance, lights and heat, and the library. F&A costs are recovered by calculating an allocable portion of F&A costs and including those costs in the proposal budget. The calculation is based on established F&A rates for UMB.
Research Administration, or Sponsored Programs Administration, directly supports principal investigators in all phases of the sponsored project life cycle. The field of research administration was initiated to help science progressively move forward. Early research administrators were charged to provide support and leadership for researchers and scientists so each could focus on science and the mission of the organization while ensuring an organization's compliance with sponsor rules and reporting requirements. Scientists need to focus on research, but as more federal support was funneled into research, oversight and compliance was also needed. Research administration creates a bridge between performing the science or research and the management of an award. Research administrators are responsible for interpreting the rules and requirements of an award while identifying any potential risk prior to submitting a proposal or accepting an award. Let's dig a little deeper into each process. To start, the principal investigator needs to find a sponsor to fund the proposed project. Sponsors issue funding opportunities that describe the sponsor's mission or funding priorities and the type of project the sponsor will fund. It provides the requirements for information and forms to be included in the proposal and how to submit the information. The principal investigator writes the technical part of the proposal, the research plan, and other program narratives. The PI usually works with the department administrator to develop a budget that supports the cost of the proposed project. The department administrator usually helps to gather other information required for the proposal, such as biosketches for all of the members of the project team. At UMB, the proposal must be entered into a grant management system called Kowali Research. The proposal is reviewed and approved through the PI's department, center or institute, and dean's office, and then is approved and submitted on behalf of UMB. Once the proposal has been submitted to the sponsor takes time to review, notifies the principal investigator of the results of the review, and may return review notes back to the PI. If the proposal is not funded, these review notes are helpful to improve and resubmit the proposal. If funded, the award is issued to UMB. UMB, usually Sponsored Programs Administration, reviews the terms and conditions of the award. Because we have all the approvals in place at the time the proposal, we can accept the award on behalf of the principal investigator. UMB, through Sponsored Projects Accounting and Compliance, sets up discrete project account. This project is specific to the funded award. The principal investigator then works with the department administrators to purchase supplies and cover other project expenses.
Let's look at the timeline for a 2-year sponsored project once it has been awarded. Each award will have terms and conditions that the recipient must follow, usually including a requirement for progress and final program reports. In a 2-year award, there are 2 budget periods. Budget periods usually coincide with years, such as budget year 1. Most sponsors will require a progress report at the end of the first year and each year thereafter. Sponsors may also require financial reports about how the funds supported the project.
The management of a sponsored project requires a team that includes the PI, department staff, and UMB Central Administration. Research administrators support the PI by ensuring that the project costs are properly charged or allocated to specific projects, reconciling those charges while keeping expenditures on track with the timeline of the project, assisting PIs with any compliance issues, such as the use of animals or humans in research, submitting required reports on time, and protecting the intellectual property of UMB and the investigators. At the end of the award period, most sponsors require a final financial report or invoice, which is a final reconciliation of the expenses incurred throughout the life of the award. Sponsors also require a final progress or program report that reviews the aims of the project and evaluates whether the PI was able to do what they set out to do in the original proposal. Most terms and conditions of grant awards will require the records of the award, such as lab notebooks, to be retained for a period of time. If the sponsor or government conducts an audit of the project, reports and data must be available. Toward the end of a funded project, the PI will determine if they would like to continue the same work or build on the results. Or if an invention was made, they may need additional time to develop the technology to support a patent application.
Are you a pre-award or a post-award research administrator? These are terms that are commonly used in sponsored programs. Pre-award usually refers to the processes from the funding opportunity through award receipt. Post-award usually refers to award acceptance, project setup, project performance and management, and reporting. Many department administrators support all the processes, but some, such as financial accountants, are strictly post-award administrators. These are the three key offices at UMB that deal with sponsored programs. Sponsored Programs Administration, or SPA, oversees proposal routing and submission, which are pre-award functions, issues subawards, and approves some post-award transactions, such as changes to the project or budget. If your sponsor is a for-profit company, you will most likely work with the Center for Clinical Trials and Corporate Contracts, CCT. Sponsored Project Accounting and Compliance, SPAC, is the post-award office that oversees UMB's financial system, including receiving sponsored payments and all financial reporting. They also manage any audits related to grants and contracts.
The SPA and SPAC websites have forms and many instructions and resources that can help you support your PIs with sponsored project proposals and awards. The websites list the contact persons within each office, and you can find out who is assigned to your department. Information about training is also on the SPA and SPAC websites. Training is needed for entering proposals in quality research and for entering transactions in the financial system, Quantum. The SPA website has an alpha index of key topics that you may use to search for terms like budget or F&A or faculty transfer. Information about how to communicate with SPA and SPA business processes and procedures is also available on this site. As a research administrator, you are supporting the business of research and sponsored programs. Research administration creates a bridge between performing the science or research and the management of an award. Still have questions? Contact your SPA teams at the email addresses on the screen or visit the SPA website for more information. SPA has an interactive and fast way for you to get your research administration questions answered. Research Matters is a fast way to get real-time responses to your simple to tough research administration questions. Click the link and remember, at UMB, Research Matters. We thank you for your time and attention and hope this overview has provided you with what you need to know about the basics of sponsored programs. Let us be the first to welcome you to the world of research administration.